Hi everyone. So I just wanted to do a video to talk about why I wrote the book, and it's a video about the interview questions that are available on Smashwords. Okay. So basically, initially, I was going to write a historical novel about Quispe, who was Atahualpa's sister, the last of the Inca emperors. Because although I had heard of Atahualpa and Francisco Pizarro countless times, and they were men who were very important in her life, I'd only recently heard about her. Now, the idea that the Inca emperor's sister was forced to marry a conquistador fascinated me. I couldn't believe that she wasn't really famous, considering what a life she must have led and all the emotions that she must have felt being faced with this it wasn't really a decision, it was something that was forced on her. And then a new idea came to me when I was reading The Incredible Incas by Terry Deary, and I just thought that while it is a very good book, I just felt like Where Are the Women? It felt like a really male-centric book, and I decided that Inca women and Inca goddesses deserve to have their stories told as well. And I kind of felt like, to begin with, I was thinking maybe it could be a children's book, but as I got more into the themes of it, I decided that no, it had to be an adult book, because there are lots of complex issues that I wanted to tell adults. Maybe in the future I could also do a junior edition, but at the moment it's an adult book. Teenagers could also read it as well. In terms of how the book evolved, I also wanted to make the experience fun and interactive. So I added questions that people could respond to on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I also added little hashtags as commentary on the stories, like, for example, hashtag Henry VIII Eat Your Heart Out. I want the readers to feel involved in the process and also to give their opinions. So that's why it's evolved in that way. And I also have used quite modern terms, and it's light reading. I don't want people to feel overwhelmed by it. I don't want it to be heavy, as there are lots of really amazing books out there about history that are quite heavy, so I thought let's do something a bit different. The book's available in quite a few forms, so I've outlined them so people know what's going on. On Smashwords, you can download it as an EPUB, a MOBI, which you can use on a Kindle, PDF, LRF, and PBD. So for those who want to print it, I'd recommend downloading it as a PDF. On Kobo.com, it's available to read on a Kobo app. On Barnes & Noble, it's available as a Nook book. And on Apple Books, it can be downloaded to read on Apple devices. For me, there are two things that are really exciting, because my work is historical. So one thing is finding new information about one of the women I'm researching that sheds a lot of light onto her life, or is a really juicy piece of information. And the other thing is when I come up with an interesting angle or insight about one of the women in the book, or the themes as a whole. No, not at all. Reading historical books for me is partly in order to practice gratitude. I'm so grateful for modern medicine, modern commodities, birth control, social progress. The list goes on and on and on. The women in my book had really difficult lives, and most of them weren't impoverished. So imagine how worse it was for those who went hungry, did back-breaking work every day, all day, had to go down the mines and so on, especially after the Spanish conquest, because Incas had a rule that people weren't allowed to starve. So after the Spanish conquest, things did get really hard for women, especially the ones who were living in poverty. So no, I'm quite happy to live in the 21st century, despite all its flaws. I'd love to have a desk. We don't have room in the house for me to have one, so I work on a laptop, which just moves around the place. Dining table, sofa. Right now it's on my lap. Intrepid Dudettes of the Inca Empire has 2 parts. The full version of the book containing parts 1 and 2 will be available soon, which is exciting. It will include women who lived during and after the Spanish conquest, as well as those from part 1 who lived before the conquest, and also the goddesses who are supposedly immortal. And there will be a few tweaks to part 1. Maybe I'll add a few bits and pieces here and there. This picture behind me, actually, if you can see, is going to feature in part 2.